Hello everybody, Vissy here with a quick little evening video thing, or while I'm recording this on the evening, I don't know when it's going up. This is going to be a little storytelling of my first ever, well, kinda second, but first running of Call of Cthulhu, the tabletop role-playing game. Now, I think some of you might know, I play Dungeons and Dragons, and I love the Dungeon Master role. Mind you, I do wish I played more as a player, but what can you do? But I wanted to try Call of Cthulhu, as Lovecraftian is something that I really enjoy, and I'm thinking it might also be easier to just run shorter games, because in Dungeons and Dragons I want long games. I want to be able to have a game that runs where I can explore characters, where people can play their characters and where they can develop. But I haven't had the opportunity to really do that properly. Anyways, so I was running this game at the event I go to every other week, and it was actually with a new family that hadn't been there before, mother and father and their kid, and it started off with just father and the kid, and the kid were playing a private investigator, and the father a police detective. Now, mind you, we just took like strength, dexterity, power, and that stuff, and assigned values to that, because I just basically glossed over the rules. I was like, okay, I can run this. And they start off by the police noting that there's a politician which some things are pointing towards the fact that they might be involved in a string of murders that have been happening. But was a pretty high up politician, and he doesn't want to screw up and, ruin the police force or his position for that matter, in case he's wrong. So he calls up this private detective to go scope it out. Private detective goes there, scopes out the building where the politician works. First day, everything is normal. The politician gets there, lays in the evening. Next day, same thing. Though they leave in the evening, followed by this trench coat and hood-wearing person despite no rain. The third night, the politician doesn't leave, but he does come back from home the next day. Relaying this information, the police detective decided to go and investigate. He meets the owner of the building and looks through the place where there were people. The building. Looks through building and into the office of the politician, who isn't there at the moment. Finding in a large chest a book about J-Big, this thing, in wrinkled leather. Going onwards, they go down into the basement. The private investigator not being along here, the police going on his badge. In the basement, he finds a painting behind which is a symbol that gives him a slight headache when he looks at it. Relaying this information to a private investigator, they then go and look into a library, finding an old book, a very old book, which gives them a strange vibe. They aren't able to read much, as the text is very old and handwritten. They lend the book, and the librarian takes a glance at it, hands it over with eyes that are somewhere else. The private investigator then heads over to a friend, a author who they know quite well. This is where the mother of the family came in, popping in as this author, and she takes a look at the book. She's able to tell what it is. It's a book regarding, well, itself isn't about that. It's about all kinds of occult lore, but she does get the name Nyarlathotep, messenger of outer gods. Looking further into this, they trace their way to a bookstore dealing in occult books. The store owner being quite suspicious about what they're looking for, but they do find a small book containing rituals relating to this Nyarlathotep entity, a neither benevolent nor malevolent creature, something that just exists but does like to toy with humans. Digging further and further into this mystery, they keep making power checks and succeeding quite well. Headaches, but nothing worse. They continue looking, and they decide to explore, ask people in the poorer districts if they know anything about this. Find their way to a restaurant. The private investigator goes in disguised, having roughed himself up to fit in. Finding a muscular man in the corner, he asks him about the symbol, showing up a pencil drawing that the police detective had scribbled down while down at the basement. Showing it, the man refers him to Old Williams, a man under a bridge nearby, another homeless person. While that was all going on, the person outside, the author, thought themselves see something weird with a homeless man laying outside. When he turned, his face showing disturbing features, and then returning to normal. Once they were done, they headed at the restaurant. They headed over to Old Williams under bridge, asking him, and is a lunatic. One eye pointing in a different direction, his teeth mostly missing, one leg twisted. He's full of life, though. Completely insane. But he does give them advice to not dig further into this, to leave it be. Nevertheless, the people decide to go back to the building. They talk to a neighbor who informs them that politicians be talking with someone. They don't know who they are, but they do speak of hidden tunnels. Heading down into the basement, they follow an instruction they found in the books. Speak my name to open the gate. Speaking Nyarlathotep's name, as they look at the wall with the symbol, the wall crumbling together into dust. They walk in, following snaking paths. The private investigator going first with a knife, the author just having her ink pen, and the detective having his gun. They eventually come to a crossing. One corridor, the one to the right, having a faint green glow, the one to the left showing the light of the outside. They decide to head right, and going in, they hear screams, stabbing into flesh, and then silence. They enter this large chamber where, standing at a stone altar, is the politician, a curved knife in his hands. As he turns to him, he smiles a wicked grin, and combat started. As luck would have it, of course, the one guy with a gun turned out to be next to lowest on the ranking of combat order. First of all, going the private investigator, throwing his knife towards the person, missing. Next up was the author. As the politician starts running, she throws her knife, her pen, and cuts into the side of his head, starting bleeding. He then runs forwards, and the police officer raises his gun, shoots at the leg, hits. The man falls to the ground, rolling up in front of him, laughing as he takes up his knife and starts stabbing himself in the chest, continuously stabbing as he chants in a wicked language. and behind the altar rises this great tendril. A tentacle with a large mouth in its center, circular with teeth-rimmed edges. They decide to run, but everyone makes a power check to see if they're going to be fine. The private investigator does good. The same with the author, but the police detective rolls really high. And I describe as he fires the rest of his bullets towards the thing, screaming on the top of his lungs. They make a run for it, the author rolling really low and managing to just bolt it out of there, but the others two miss it. The police detective falling to the ground in panic. The other guy, the private investigator, or one of the two, I can't quite remember, look back and see it as if the politician grabs them by the ankle, laughing towards them as they fall and hit the ground. The author keeps running, taking the right turn towards the light, rolling out, looking back at a closed space, no way back to where they once came from, and realizing that they're alone. And we ended there. The politician dead, but the mystery still in the air. 2 investigators gone. A friend lost. And a horror imminently upon the city. And that's my first experience with Call of Cathulu. I think this might be a game I'd be really happy to play with friends, as I think I can run these games quite easily. I had barely any time in this session, maybe like an hour, 2 hours tops, whereas these things are supposed to go for 4 to 5 hours. So if I find an afternoon where I can spend time with like a group of friends, like Mark, Ebru, Shibi, throw a group of friends together and we can play like a good game of Call of Cathulu, I think that could be really fun. It would also be something fun to put on the channels, where, heck, maybe we could have it animated. That would be really cool, like animated story time. But yeah, that's my Call of Cthulhu story time. So I hope you enjoyed. If you want more of this, or if you want me to see me play with friends, please tell me. Yeah. Until next time. See ya.